अस्सलामुअलैकुम, मेरा नाम सलमान खान फैक्ट्री वाला है और मैं टीचर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम का स्टूडेंट हूँ। और आज मेरा टीचर टॉक है तो जिसका टॉपिक है लर्निंग फ्रॉम फेलियर टर्निंग स्टेप बैक इनटू अपॉर्चुनिटीज़। तो इस टॉपिक पर हम चैट जीपीटी से बात करेंगे, तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। हेलो चैट जीपीटी,
Today.
आई हैव सम क्वेश्चंस।
Of course. Feel free to ask whatever's on your mind, and I'll do my best to help out, whether it's something quick or a more in depth topic. What's your
My
first
first
question?
question is that what does it mean to learn from failure?
Great question. So, learning from failure basically means taking the lessons from things that didn't go as planned, and you treat it as a stepping stone for future success. Does that make sense?
Why is failure considered an important part of success?
Yeah, you see what didn't work, and you get this honest feedback that just you can't get anywhere else. It pushes you to adapt, to rethink, and often that's where real innovation happens. So without those stumbles, success is really just harder to reach.
How can setback help people grow stronger?
Exactly. Every time you face a setback and work through it, you build resilience. You get more confident in your abilities, and you realize that even if you fail, you can pick yourself up. So over time, those failures don't just stop you, they actually shape you into a stronger, wiser person.
What lesson can failure teach about life and goals?
Ooh, that's a really rich question. I think one big lesson is that life is unpredictable. No matter how much you plan, things might not go your way. But failure teaches you to stay flexible, to adapt, and to keep your sense of purpose even when things are tough. And it also shows you that progress is rarely linear. It's more like a winding road with detours.
Why does failure build confidence?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's because every time you fail and then you get back up, you prove to yourself that you can handle tough stuff. You realize, hey, I survived that and I can try again. So each failure actually builds a bit of trust in yourself, which makes future risks feel a little less scary.
How how why do successful people often experience many failure?
Yeah, that's really common. A lot of successful people have failed many times before they got there. The reason is that each failure is kind of a practice run. They experiment, they learn, and they refine their approach. And it's that persistence, those repeated attempts and adjustments that eventually leads them to breakthrough success.
How can positive mindset turn failure into opportunity?
Yeah, a positive mindset is really powerful here. When you see failure as a chance to grow rather than a permanent setback, you stay open to possibilities. You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And that question sparks creativity and new approaches. So instead of feeling stuck, you feel empowered to pivot and try again with a fresh perspective.
What are the most common reasons people fear failure?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons is this fear of judgment. People worry about what others will think if they mess up. And on top of that, sometimes failure just feels like a threat to our identity. Like if we fail, it means we're not good enough. But once you reframe it, it kind of takes the power away from that fear.
How can failure improve discussion making skills?
Ooh, that's a really interesting one. So when you fail, you often have to step back and really analyze what went wrong. That reflection sharpens your judgment because you notice patterns, you consider different angles, and you think about risks more carefully. So next time, you're making decisions with this richer, more informed perspective.
How can failure improve making skills? Uh,
Yeah, so when you experience failure, it forces you to pause and reevaluate the choices you made. You start asking, what led me to this outcome? What assumptions did I make? And because you're more intentional about reviewing what happened, you become less impulsive and more strategic. So next time you make a decision, you're doing it with more clarity and wisdom.
What role does self-reflection play after a setback?
Oh, self reflection is huge after a setback. It's really the time when you slow down and process what happened, why you stumbled, what you could have done differently, and what strengths you brought to the table. And that reflection is where you get your next steps, where you decide how to adjust and keep moving forward with more awareness.
How can students learn from academic failure?
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So failure can really be a catalyst for growth if you let it. Once you reflect, you identify the gaps, whether it's a skill you need, a mindset shift, or a different approach. And by applying those lessons, you get stronger, more capable, and more prepared for future challenges. So, in that way, failure is almost like a secret tool for leveling up.
How can failure motivate people to work harder?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when people fail, it can spark this determination. They don't want that outcome again. So they get really focused, set clear goals, and they push themselves harder. In a way, failure can light that fire, like a reminder that progress is worth fighting for.
Why is present tense important after failure?
Yeah, that's a great point. Staying present helps because it grounds you in what's happening right now instead of getting lost in regret or fear about the future. When you stay present, you can take mindful steps, focus on what you can control, and start making better choices in the moment. So it keeps you from feeling stuck in the past.
How can teamwork help overcome setback?
Oh, teamwork is such a big help. When you have a supportive team, you don't carry the weight alone. People can offer different perspectives, skills, and emotional support. So you can brainstorm solutions together, share the load, and keep each other motivated. In that way, setbacks feel more like a shared challenge you can tackle as a group.
What are the healthy ways to deal with disappointment?
Yeah, a healthy way is to let yourself feel it. It's okay to acknowledge the disappointment, but then balance that by reframing. Ask yourself what you can learn from it, and then set a small positive step forward. And of course, reach out to supportive friends or family. They can help you keep perspective and stay grounded.
What habits people recover quickly from failure?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the key is to be kind to yourself. Instead of dwelling too long on what went wrong, acknowledge it and then remind yourself of your strengths. Reframe the setback as a temporary bump. So give yourself a little grace, focus on what's next, and take small, steady steps forward.
Can failure lead to unexpected opportunities and how?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes failure pushes you off a path you thought was the only one, and that opens you up to new possibilities you never considered. So, in that way,
What famous success stories were built?
someone like J.K. Rowling, she was rejected by tons of publishers before Harry Potter took off. Or look at Thomas Edison, so many failed prototypes before the light bulb. These setbacks gave them the space to refine their ideas and eventually create something world changing.
How can people use failure as a stepping stone to success?
Yeah, so the key is really about mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a permanent defeat, you treat it as a clue, like a signal that your approach needs adjusting. Each failure gives you data, what worked, what didn't, and that lets you iterate. Over time, you build resilience, skill, and a clear vision. So
Can
failure is forward.
you give me a short summary about this topic?
Of course. Basically, failure is a natural part of growth. It's not a dead end, but a chance to learn, adapt, and become stronger. By reflecting on failures, you gain clarity, refine your approach, and stay motivated. So they really can be stepping stones to success.
Thank you, ChatGPT. पसंद आई होगी, और मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। अल्लाह हाफिज़।